Okay, so our class is set up, and now it's time to create an assessment. Since this is a fourth grade class, I'm going to choose a fourth grade math standard to assess, and I think let's just go ahead and do prime and composite numbers. So what I'm going to do is go over here to the left side of the screen, and I'm going to click on the word Assessment Library. This is where I can search through hundreds and hundreds of previously created assessments. I can filter my search over here by grade level or by subject or standard. And I can even view which library of assessments I want to look for. I can look for all of the tests that were created in my district or all of the tests that were created in my school, and I can filter my search like that. As a brief side note, there are iRead and iStep released item assessments that you can browse on here, but we'll have to save that for another time. So for the sake of our training, however, we're going to create our own assessment. So I'm going to go up here and click on the words Create Assessment. And now you can see I can either create an assessment from scratch or I can scan a PDF and make a test with that. From my own experience, it's really difficult to create a test from PDF. You have to tell it where the questions are and where to put the answers, and it's a bit time consuming and it doesn't exactly do the job the way I prefer, but that's my own personal opinion. So we're going to go ahead and give our assessment a title here. We're going to call this Prime and Composite Quiz Grade 4. So I'll hit Create Assessment here. So now I'm on another screen where I've got another set of filters, and this time I'm not looking for whole assessments. This time I can look for actual questions. So you have really two options here. You can either author a brand new question yourself, or you can search through all of the questions that exist now to fit the standard that you want. So obviously I would use my filters here if I wanted to search for a prime and composite quiz. I can even search by keyword up here if I want to look for the word prime or composite. Let's just look for the word prime. And we'll see there are a host of questions here that all match my search. And so you can look through these yourself if you'd like to, or you can simply author the questions yourself. And that's what we're going to do here first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to author a new question. You can see now I've got lots of different types of questions, and this is where Edulastic becomes really neat and useful. Is there are all sorts of technology enhanced things that you can choose from here. I can choose from the classic question types. I can do some math enhanced stuff where I can do matching tables or graphing or number lines or anything like that. I can even do some ELA tech enhanced things with passage based items, picking the sentence. I can match things. I can do any of those types of questions, and it's pretty easy to make them yourself. So I'm going to start with something very basic for mine, and I'm going to go ahead and just select a multiple choice question. Let's make a basic multiple choice question for prime and composite. We'll ask something like, which of the following numbers is prime? So let's give it some answer choices here. We'll go with 1, 2, 4, and 15. All I have to do next is select which one of these is actually correct, and as we know, 2 is the prime number that's in that list of questions. And then what I can do is look down here at the bottom, and I have a few more optional things. You don't have to do these parts, but you certainly can. You can pick the depth of knowledge, you can give it a difficulty level, you can tag it in case you want to look for it in the future. You can even write down what the solution is so that the kids could look at that answer after they submit their quiz. Or you could give them a hint for them to do while they're taking the test. So I might put a hint such as, remember that a prime number only has 2 factors. So you can choose to do that if you want to or not. You can also allow your kids to use Scratchpad, which would give them the capability of being able to sort of draw or write on their own computer screen as a means of scratch paper. So I'm ready to finish my question here. And what I'm going to do is hit save. So now what I have to do is select a standard to put with my question. So I'm going to go ahead and find the standard that fits with this one. I know that this one is 4NS 8. So finding factor pairs within that number. So I'm going to pick this standard right here. And now I can save it. You'll notice in the top right corner, the word review is now up here that says I have one question on my test. So I can either author a new question now, or if I'd like to, I could go back and pick another one. So one thing I could do is I could look through, maybe I want to look at some of the questions that already exist for this. So let's look at this one. This one says select all the prime numbers from the list. I'm going to click on this question and it will show me exactly what the question looks like. So I think I like this one. I'll go ahead and keep this one for my quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and back up here. And I like this one, so I'm going to click on this box here. And now you can see my review says I have 2 questions on my quiz. So for the sake of our training, we'll say that that is all of the questions that we want to do. So my test is done, and albeit a very short assessment, but that part is finished, and now I'm going to go over here and hit review. And now I see here are the questions that I chose. I can view this as a student if I want to, so I can see exactly what the kids will see. I could save it as a draft if I'm not quite ready to give it to my students or assign it to my students. Or I can publish it. And right now I'm going to go ahead and publish my quiz and give it to my class. So now I have, this is my quiz here. I've got a little picture that I could change if I wanted to. Again, I could put a tag on there if I want keywords for it. Here's where your sharing level is, and this is where you can share it with your colleagues at your school or even in your district. So I can add this to my private library, where only I can find it. I can put it in the school library where all of my colleagues and co-teachers could find it. I could put it in the Fort Wayne Community Schools library, or I could even share it with the whole Edulastic community. So I'm going to share this one with the district library, just for grins. And you can see I also have a big long web address here. You could share this with your colleagues. So I'm going to go ahead and hit assign. And now I've got another big long menu here. I can tell now when I want my test to begin, when do I want my test to be due. I can also select which class I want to give this to. I'll go ahead and give this to my class that's called Grade 4 Mathematics. And I have 2 different classes on here. You saw me create this one called Test Class 1, so let's go ahead and give this to them. Now you can see I'm assigning this class to 4 different students. Down here at the bottom I can set what I want mastery criteria to be for this. This will help me with my reports in the future. I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone for now, and I'll hit assign. Now you can see my quiz is created, and I've got that big long URL again that I could share with my colleagues. And my quiz is ready to go. All I have left to do now is have my kids take it, and then I can look at the results. And that's what we're going to look at next, is the results from an old test.